Welcome friends to this video. We are going to be learning how to draw the shoulders. More specifically, we're going to be drawing the scapula from the posterior view and also the clavicle from the anterior view. So I have a couple skeleton ribs here that we're going to start with. The one on the left is we'll do the posterior view. And I have other reference videos of the rib cage and the spine. I'll be working on the skull next, so I'll leave those two. And then hopefully I'll get the third one up soon. So let's go ahead and start with where the scapula is going to be placed and the dimensions. So if you take the width of the skull, and that's about the width of the scapula, and we're going to start right down the middle and right at the top of the ribs. That's going to be the width or the starting point. And then I'll flip that around. And then the inside of the scapula is right underneath the skull, so I'll just bring down the measurement here. Now the bottom here, how I got this measurement was actually 2 lengths of the skull. So from the top to the bottom, I do 1 length, and that's the first measurement, and then I do a second one, that's the bottom of the skull, approximately, or bottom of the ribs. So how I got that was just 1 length, I go the first one here, and that's right about where the nipple range is. So let's go ahead and start drawing it now that we have an idea of the dimensions. I think the easiest way to start is probably with the acromion. So the acromion is that bone you can feel at the top where a lot of the ligaments are, where a lot of the tendons for the muscles. Now, your shoulder is the most mobile of joints, and that also means unstable joint. So there are a lot of muscles on your shoulder, the rotator cuff, which is a common injury. So if we start with the acromion, it's kind of looks like a little hook here at the top corner. And that's where a lot of the muscles are going to be attached to. And right beneath that is our shoulder joint, also known as the glenoid fossa. All right, so we kind of have this C-shaped curve and circle here in the top corner. And then what we'll do is we'll come back up here and we'll make a 15-degree type of V down to the bottom line away from the interior or the center line. And then we'll do another V up to this corner and we'll round it. We'll round it off there. So that's bottom, and then at the bottom of the C curve is where the top of there. So that's kind of the shape of our scapula. So we'll do the same thing over here on this side. We'll do a C curve and we'll curve it down toward the ribs. And then we'll do the glenoid fossa, the shoulder humerus where it's connecting. And then we'll curve down to this line and we'll kind of make our V shape. All right, now we can also add in the clavicle. So the clavicle connects to the acromion, and we'll see a better view in the front, but essentially there's a little bit gap here for shoulder movement, and then it kind of tilts down. So that's kind of there. One more thing to notice, we have a coracoid process. We'll also see a little bit better in the front. That's a little bump there. So I will label these for your reference. So this is acromion. This one here is the coracoid process. And this one here is a glenoid fossa. All right, so now that we have the major landmarks, let's go ahead and do the same for the front view. I'll spin my illustration here around so you can have a look at that. So what we're going to do now is something similar. We're going to take the width of the cranium right at the center, come to the top of the ribs. That would be 1 width of it. And then, excuse me, as I tilt to the side. All right, so now we kind of have our width. Let's start at the same area here. We will tilt or do the acromion process at the top corner. Kind of a C curve. And we'll go slightly down at about a 15-degree angle there. And then we'll have our glenoid fossa shoulder joint there, and then come down about the same 15-degree angle. If we come straight down from that here, there's our triangle. I'll curve this down here at the bottom a bit. And we got our scapula shape. Here, this is this, yeah, so we'll kind of straighten that C curve. And then the coracoid process, a little bump right inside here that the other muscles attach to. All right, let's go ahead and do the other side, and then we can do the clavicle. So a little C curve, and it comes down this side. Glenoid process here. Start straight down from the head, come down about 15 degrees, and do our V-shaped curve. Okay, and now we can do one more thing, which is the coracoid process. Is right there. And that's where the muscle is attached to, up here and down here. And then let's go ahead and do the clavicle. So the clavicle comes down here to the top rib in the center. And you can think of it as in three sections, one here, and then it curves up and it curves across. It's commonly referred to as bicycle handlebars, and that's mainly because of the superior view. If we take a look at our skeleton from the top, you can see how it curves back, goes from the front of the rib cage and curves back to the shoulders. So that's kind of why it looks like that in three sections. And I think that will cover the scapula and clavicle for shoulders. So, and the fascinating thing of the shoulders is just how mobile the scapula is. And in order to move your arm up, the joint here would stop, but in order to get total movement above your head, that scapula actually has to move. So we'll get into more videos of the muscles around the shoulder that will talk about that. But for now, I think that will cover the scapula and the clavicle. So thank you for watching. And as always, please leave a comment if you have any video suggestions or questions as I continue my series of anatomy, of drawing. And I can't wait to see you in an upcoming video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.